Neville Goddard's The Feeling is the Secret is an amazing book. What's interesting to me is as much as we can all read it, understand it, and have ideas and thoughts on how to apply it, I truly have noticed that many of us are making one simple, tiny mistake that we can fix that I'm going to reveal in this video for you. Because we know that the power is in emotions. It's in feeling, right? However, one of the biggest mistakes most of us make is, let's say, for example, we have a vision board. Now, I'm all about vision boards. I think they're great. But there's two different ways that you can use a vision board. One way serves you better than the other. Now, if you have a vision board, and let's say you put up all your favorite things, your car that you want, your dream girl or guy, a vacation, the typical things that we would see on a vision board. Well, if we do it wrong, every time we see this vision board is a visual reminder that you don't have that which you desire. And then what we do is we go into an emotional state of lack, right? And lack, the energy of lack is not a receiving emotion, right? It's emotion that very much pushes things away from us instead of attracting them to us. And so a lot of it is, how do you view or internalize from an emotional state those things that which you desire? So for example, let's say today I wake up and let's say that I have an interview for a job that I really want. Now, one of the mistakes I can make is I'll start to be playing some mental movies in my mind. Now, if those movies, which include narratives and some conversations with myself, some beliefs perhaps, right? If I have a set of narratives and beliefs that don't serve me, then what happens is as I kind of go through my mind as to what the interview is going to be like, I'm going to be imagining mistakes, maybe me making some foolish comments, maybe me not answering questions correctly. And if I start to have those doubts and I start to paint a picture in my mind of what this scene might go like, right? Think about the resulting emotion, right? If feeling is the secret, what feeling have I created in that instance? And what I've done is I've created a feeling of maybe a little bit of doubt, maybe even perhaps I might even go as deep as having some shame, guilt, humiliation, or embarrassment that I didn't get the job, right? But if I start to imagine things in a way, right, that my doubts, my concerns, my self-talk that doesn't serve me comes in, think about the first thing that happens right immediately after. What's my vibe? What's my energy, right? What are the feelings, right? And if feeling is the secret, in this instance, I would argue that the feeling that I have, let's say it is shame, let's say it's guilt, let's say it's a little bit of doubt, right? That energy is going to be projected from me, right? Because emotions are energy in motion. So when I go into that interview, what vibe am I going to give off, right? I truly believe that there's something inside of us we haven't discovered yet where we can actually feel someone's vibe, right? You can kind of feel, and sometimes you can't quite put your finger on it because we haven't really identified what that is yet, but it is that energy field around you, right? You can feel that field. And so if you go into that job interview, what ends up happening is your feeling is contagious because emotions are contagious. So that feeling is expressed, but then it's also felt by the opposing party or the person who's interviewing you. Once they feel that, how is that not going to affect their decision? Because don't forget, if feelings are contagious, they might feel a little doubt. They might feel a little concern, right? Think about it. If you're around someone who doubts themselves, you kind of just start to feel a little bit doubt yourself. It doesn't mean you doubt yourself, but you experience that feeling, right? If you're around a bunch of happy people at a wedding, right? Even if you didn't have the best day the day before, right? You're going to internalize a lot of those emotions and it will probably lift you up. It'll raise your vibe. And so what we have to realize, and one of the biggest tiny shifts you can make when it comes to putting The Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard into action, into motion, is to be very aware of your vibe, right? Now think about it. How are we aware of our vibe, right? Most of us don't do what I call a vibe check. One of my favorite things, one of the most powerful things that I do with my coaching clients is I'll check in with them. I'll just literally send them a text that says, what's your vibe, right? And think about it. If you just throughout the day asked yourself that even once, and maybe even built the habit of asking it, several times throughout the day, What's my vibe? What you'd start to realize is when you ask that question, you're inviting yourself to consider and ponder whether you're using the feeling is the secret for you or against you. And if you can actually take a moment, right? I call it pause and ponder, right? If you could pause, just stop. I know you're busy. Just stop. I'm not asking for 2 minutes. Just stop for a moment and ponder one question. What's my vibe, right? Once you ask yourself, what's my vibe? That's where you need to get really honest with yourself. You need to really think from a visceral standpoint. Not what do I want my vibe to be, not what's going on around me, but more so like, what am I actually feeling? Am I feeling alive? Am I feeling a little dead? Am I feeling a little this, feeling a little that? What am I feeling, right? Because once you ask yourself, what's my vibe? Think of the vibe as the endpoint, right? Feeling is the endpoint. Now what you do is you reverse engineer what's causing that vibe. Most of the time, it's what you're focusing your energy and attention on, right? It's that simple. And so if you focus on something, imagine it expands, right? And if you don't focus on something, it contracts. And so if I'm focusing on all the things that went wrong for me or all the challenges I have throughout the day, right? Let's say I'm at work and I do a vibe check. I say, what's my vibe? Obviously, my vibe is going to be maybe one of anxiety, stress, concern, uneasiness, right? But do those vibes serve me? Of course not, right? But if you do a vibe check and you actually can check in and feel, like, what does it feel like in my stomach? What does my heart feel like? Is my heart feel full or does it feel a little empty? Does my stomach feel tight or does it feel a little bit loose? Do I kind of feel like I've just been flowing all day or do I feel like I'm trying too hard throughout the day, right? Am I pushing or forcing things today or am I using the power within to kind of create my day, right? And so a vibe check is one of the most powerful things that you should ask at the very beginning to gain clarity. Because don't forget, the two tools you always have to serve you are curiosity and clarity, right? Curiosity comes in the form of questions. What's my vibe? What am I focusing on? How am I feeling, right? Clarity comes from the result of the curiosity. Oh, wow, I think I'm feeling this, this, and this. And then maybe you ask yourself another question. What have I been focusing on? Have I been focusing on work? Oh, wait, actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I'm focusing on the fact that my car is getting fixed and I'm kind of freaked out that I think it's going to cost over $1,500. But if they find that this other thing's wrong, it's only going to cost $385, right? And so maybe you're fearful of what the number's going to be because maybe you only have $500 in the bank. You get 500, it's going to look really possible for one of the outcomes, but not so possible for the other, right? And so curiosity and clarity, always keep them in your back pocket. Consider them to be your best friends. Now, I want to go a level deeper here. So when it comes to visualization and the vision board, let's go back to a vision board example that serves you, okay? So we go back to the vision board. You have all these things, the vacation, the man, the woman, the car, the house, the job, right? If you view that vision board and you just really take a moment and say, all right, I'm going to manage the vibe that is the result of me viewing this vision board more seriously, watch what you can do. So we know we have 5 senses, right? I always miss one when I do this. I have sight, sound, taste, feel. There's one more. I never get the 5th. I don't know why. Taste, sound, feel. You know what they are. Look them up. Think about all the sensations you have that are available to you. Now, when you visualize, what most of us make the mistake of doing is we just see the thing, right? We just see it, but we don't feel it, right? So if you see it, you need to feel it in order to believe it, right? And so if, for example, I'm looking at the picture of a house that I want, right? If I just look at the house and be like, oh, geez, I want that house so bad. I want it so bad. I want it so bad. That's an energy of lack. And think about how many times I make the same mistake all the time. And if I catch myself, that's the difference. But if the energy is of lack and you want something, don't forget desire, right? The more you desire something, the more you have it or the more you don't have it. Oftentimes the energy of desire, right? And I'm not saying that passion isn't a good thing, but sometimes desire has an energy that's very interesting Because sometimes the energy of desire is one of lack and separation. If you want a relationship so bad, right? Think about it. When you're in a relationship, that's when people are interested in you. When you're not, that's when it's a little harder to find someone, typically, right? And so it's that desire, like, oh, I want to be in a relationship. I want that house. I want. Well, the more you want, the more you actually don't have the thing that you want, right? Because if you know that something's right around the corner, you might still want it, but the energy of the want of the thing is a little different. It's like, hey, I can't wait until this thing happens, right? So you're already thinking about the thing happening, right? You're already thinking about what's right around the corner that you're going to experience. You're not wondering whether it's going to happen. You're not hoping it's going to happen. You're just wondering, and what you're doing is you're wondering in a way where you're like, oh my God, I know, right? Belief that it's coming right around the corner. So what happens? That energy is one of abundance. That's one where you start to feel it. You're like, all right, I'm going on this date today and I know it's going to be great. We've had great phone conversations. We've had this, we've had that. Think about it. Just in the not even 5 seconds, 3 seconds I've been talking right now, I'm visualizing it as if I'm there, right? As if I'm already on that date, as if I've already experienced that feeling that I know is going to happen. And so my energy is of abundance because I'm feeling into my future. I'm literally feeling into my future as if it's happening now. Because we know that your brain doesn't know the difference between that which is real and that which is imagined. So when we imagine to the point that we activate the feeling, this is when we truly get that which we desire. Because it's full of abundance. We're actually starting to make those feelings feel familiar. They feel comfortable. They feel certain, right? Think about what holds us back and makes us stressed. Uncertainty, unfamiliarity, uncomfortableness, right? These are the things that hold us back. But yet, when you feel into the future, these are the things that actually serve you, right? So you're like, wow, I'm feeling into the point where I can tell that this is going to happen, right? So here's how you take action on this. Couple simple things. One, the tiny shift you're going to make is to activate all 5 of your senses. That is the key. Activate all 5 of your senses and believe that the thing that you wish is right around the corner. Take the distance and shorten it, right? Don't believe that in 5 years, and it might be 5 years until you can afford that house, okay? I'm not saying that may not be a fact and that may not be true. What I'm asking you to do is to accept that fact, but then just as quickly as you think about that fact and accept that fact, which creates distance, those 5 years until you can afford to get the house, I want you to imagine right now that you're walking in the house in the next 5 minutes, or maybe in the next 5 seconds, because that's going to activate the energy and the feeling that you need. And then what happens, and this is where people, especially people that are a little anti-manifestation, anti-woo-woo, this is where they get it wrong. They say, oh, well, you just can't feel into a house. What am I going to do? Just sit here and just like feel I'm walking into a house and then like tomorrow it's just going to show up? No, that's not what I said. But here's one thing you need to know. Your feelings create your next thought. They also create your next action or lack thereof, right? If I feel lack and I feel like I'm never going to get that house, what action am I going to take? Am I more likely to save money, or am I more likely to get another job so I can afford it? Am I more likely to start, reaching out to real estate agents? No, because my energy is not in that direction, right? But if I can start to actually raise my vibe, feel as if this thing is right around the corner, my energy starts to be that which is in alignment with the thing that I want. And now all of a sudden, I'm thinking like I have it. I'm talking like I have it. I believe that I'm going to get it, right? And that's all because the feelings have fed this new set of narratives, new set of beliefs, new set of actions that, oddly enough, are the exact things that I need to now achieve the thing. So it's like a circle. It's like a loop, right? But you have to start with feeling. Feeling is the secret. If you want to learn more about how to manage your emotions, watch this video.